The next chapter we're going to talk about addresses the medically relevant viruses for Step 1 of the USMLE. Now, keep in mind we're moving from a prokaryotic system now to obligate intracellular pathogens, all right? There's a whole host of additional things we're going to have to think about as far as treatment and trying to control the viral infection, trying to kill the virus without trying to kill the host cell that it's living in. So we have a lot of additional things to think about here with the viruses. So we're going to start with a little bit of an introduction, and then we'll get into the medically relevant viruses. Now, if you look at the structure and morphology of the viruses, they're simply DNA or RNA surrounded in a protein coat. And that's all they have to be. They don't have to be any more extensive than that. You have just a little piece of genome surrounded by a little protein coat. And that type of virus we would call a naked virus because it does not have an envelope. Now, some viruses steal the cell membrane from the host cell as they're exiting the cell. When they do that, they take the cell membrane with it, and that becomes the envelope for the virus. So that's the main difference between your naked capsid viruses and then your enveloped viruses, and we'll talk about that in a little bit more detail. The key that you see on this slide is just giving you some of the terminology that we're going to be using. For example, positive stranded RNA, they're going to use the term plus RNA, and you should be aware that that is absolutely equivalent to a messenger RNA. Single-stranded, SS, double-stranded, DS, and then the negative-stranded or negative-sense RNA. For the negative-stranded viruses, you need to know that they're complementary to the message. So therefore, if they're a copy, a template of the message, they can't be used as messenger RNA. So you're going to have to convert them to a messenger RNA in order to be read. And we're going to talk about that when we finally get to the negative-stranded viruses. Now, if you look at this slide, just to kind of give you an idea of viral structure, a really good example of a naked virus is shown up here, where you have an icosahedron, and a little curlicue in there is representative of the genome. Remember, the genome can be DNA or RNA, and you have an example here of an icosahedron that's naked, and at the bottom you have an example of an icosahedron that's enveloped. And the best example we have of that is the herpes virus family. Now, the other main structure of virus that we have is called a helical virus. And I'm showing one here, which is just the genome. And I'm going to show you now that there are no naked helical viruses. So all helical viruses will steal or capture that cell membrane from the host cell to become an envelope. So we have icosahedral viruses and we have helical viruses. They're the only viruses that can be naked or without the envelope are icosahedral. So that speaks to the structure a little bit.